Greetings, lovers of mysticism and the unknown. Allow me to introduce myself, Osvaldo Prospero, explorer of the unexplained and unbelievable. Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story. Sit back and listen. In 2006, a 27-year-old cab driver from the city of Barranquilla was on another trip. His passengers were two zoologists and asked for an urgent ride to another town, Campo de la Cruz. Emil Guardo at first refused, as the trip would have taken a long time, but he was offered to pay it at 10 times the fare. After figuring out the amount of profit in his head, he eagerly agreed. The men spoke to the cab driver in Spanish, and among themselves in another, unknown language. Emil at first tried to listen, but realized that none of the words were familiar to him and gave up the idea. At some point, the cab driver looked in the mirror, and in the reflection he saw one of the zoologists blink his third eyelid, which a person cannot have. Guardo felt uncomfortable, but he did not show it. Various thoughts poured into his head, and when one of the passengers called out to him, Emil did not immediately respond. Then he was grabbed by the shoulder and yanked. It was summer, the cab driver was wearing a tank top, and he felt an unnaturally cold hand on his skin. The man responded. The one who had touched him spoke, "Turn left in a kilometer, we'll take a shortcut on the country roads." Emil Guardo wanted to object that he knew the route, but a chilling hand continued to hold his shoulder, and the man decided not to argue. Turning where the passengers wished, the cab driver saw bright lights in the sky. Blue, lilac, and pink. It was impossible to see the object itself, the view was blocked by the crowns of trees. Emil shouted, "Do you see it? What is it?" The conversing passengers did not react and continued to discuss something in an incomprehensible language. After 10 minutes of driving along country roads, one of the zoologists demanded that the car be stopped. Emil gathered his courage and asked the question, "But, we haven't gotten there yet." The passenger silently handed over the promised money and both creatures left the car. The object in the sky turned out to be a large, disc-shaped metal machine. The lights were around it in 2 rows, lilac and pink on one level, blue on another, higher up. The two men walked toward the flying ship. It hovered 25 to 30 meters high. When they stopped below it, they looked up and shouted something. At the bottom of the UFO, white lights came on. Beams of light beamed from them in different directions. Then all the beams concentrated in one place and a humanoid appeared on the grass beside them. He wore a silvery white suit, and a golden helmet hit his head. In his hands he held a round object. All 3 of them touched it and literally disappeared. The lights on the ship went out, and it drifted off in an unknown direction.